what up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy, MacDaGiantsFan. Here with my guys, the Horsemen, Adam Costas, Zenith. Y'all know what time it is. This is the Premium Taste Podcast. Let's go.
Let's get it. Let's get it. What's up? What's up? Back to you in your life. It's supposed to be a Thursday afternoon, but due to schedule restrictions, we're coming to you guys on a Friday afternoon. So that being said, welcome to the Premium Takes Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to cover everything March Madness. I know the boys are excited to talk about that, especially Mac. He's probably the one that's been watching the tournament more closely out of all three of us. Excited to see what he has to say about those games. Then we'll just kind of cover the New York Giants a little bit, NFL rumors, NFL free agents, and then, of course, upcoming with the draft as well. So without further ado, let's talk March Madness. I'm going to turn the mic back over to Mac, and I guess I'm going to begin with the first question to you guys. What's your guys' thoughts on the tournament so far? Go right ahead, Mac.
Well, tournament is always exciting as usual, man. I love March Madness. It's like my favorite sporting event of the year. Every year I look forward to it. I mean, I didn't even get to really watch college basketball as much in depth as I usually do, just due to my work schedules just being all over the place. So it just getting to this tournament and actually having these last couple of days to be able to sit back and enjoy it, which is actually the most exciting times for me of the tournament is the first couple of days. And yesterday definitely did not disappoint, man. Yesterday it was just so many great games yesterday throughout the day. A couple of upsets. It was more upsets yesterday than what we've seen so far today. Indeed, for sure, man. But let's just start right at the top. The number one overall seed in this tournament, Duke, man. Not just number one in their region, number one overall seed in the entire tournament. Which to me, taking on the team called Siena, a little small school up in upstate New York, up there near Albany. I had to look up where they were from. I had no idea. But this team came in there, man, and gave Duke everything they could handle and some. And it took everything for Duke to, man. It took a hell of an effort for Duke to pull this one off. And I'm going to tell you right now, Siena, man, if they just would have, honestly, if they would have had maybe a couple of guys off on their bench that could have came in and gave their starters a blow, man, that might have been a difference, and that might have been all they would have needed, man, because Siena played all five of their starters the entire 40 minutes, wire to wire. Those five guys gave the best team in the nation everything they can handle. 11-point halftime lead Siena had, man, and Duke had to battle back in the second half to be able to pull this one off. And I think really what it came down to, honestly, myself personally from watching the game, those guys from Siena, they were just gassed at the end, man. They were worn out, man. They're going to get, those five guys, because it was literally the five guys. Nobody came in off the bench for Siena. Those five guys played the entire 40 minutes, and they took it right to the top team in the country. And the thing fascinating about this is, like I said, Duke's number one seed, overall seed in this tournament. I think if you do by my calculations, that would mean Siena must have been the last seeded team in this tournament, the number 68 seeded team in this tournament. So just think about the discrepancy right there and what kind of upset. You're talking about a bracket buster? No, that would have been a bracket explosion if Siena would have put off that upset yesterday. And it was just a great game, man. I tip my hat to that team, Siena, man. They were tough. And at the end, I love what Duke's coach had to say. Like I said, dignity. He didn't go out there. He understood that his team was very, very lucky to get out of there with a W. Respect, and I just love that about the tournament. But also just a couple of other good moments yesterday, man. Who was that other school I was watching yesterday that pulled off that upset? High Point. High Point knocking off Wisconsin, the 12 High Point at 12 seed. I'm not sure exactly where they're located. I didn't actually look them up, but once again, another school, who the hell knows where High Point is, knocking off the Wisconsin Badgers, man. That was another great game yesterday. It just can go on, man. What St. Louis was able to do to Georgia, it was just
North Carolina.
And then I was gonna get to that because that was later on in the night.
No. I'm sorry. High Point's from North Carolina.
Oh, high points from
Look
North
it up.
Carolina.
Look it up, yeah. No, yeah, not UNC. We'll get to that too, but continue.
Oh yeah, my boy. Yeah. But how can yes, some school down in North Carolina getting it done, man. So we'll get to see them on Saturday tomorrow too as well. And but yeah, just like I said, St. Louis just dismantling Georgia last night as well. Not a major upset, but at the same time, an upset nonetheless, especially with that kind of it's the way they did it and the way they handed it to them, man. So yeah, it just a lot of good games. Like I said, all day yesterday, man. It was just a great way to start the tournament off. And then let's cap the night off, man. VCU, North Carolina, man, taking it going to overtime. VCU battling back at one point. North Carolina was up 19 points in this basketball game, man. And VCU battled back to get tie it up at the end of regulation, and then go into overtime and eventually be able to overtake the Carolina Tar Heels, man. So that just was an exciting day one, man. And then we get to the day, man, and today, and the day got started off with maybe the most exciting game thus far of the tournament. Thus far, I mean, I know we're still early in, but I mean, it was a great game to kick things off today. Kentucky and Santa Clara. I mean, this game had it all. I mean, these guys going just tooth and nail, back and forth, man. Then at the end of regulation, just trading threes at the end of regulation, sending this game into overtime. I mean, this game was something to see. Kentucky was able to eventually kind of overwhelm them a bit in the overtime session and get the job done. So no upset here. But at the end of the day, man, Santa Clara also tipped the hat to a squad like that. First time back in the NCAA tournament in about 30 years, I believe Steve Nash was on the Santa Clara basketball team the last time they played in the NCAA tournament, man. They came in here and they gave it everything they had against Kentucky, man. But like I said, not too many other upsets today. If I'm not mistaken, I believe every 9 seed has knocked off every 8 seed, if I'm not mistaken. That is, but I mean, those aren't big upsets, obviously. That's just a matter of just the teams that are pretty evened out. But other than that, yeah, not too many upsets today. That was but still some pretty good basketball, some fun basketball. Game I got on right now, as a matter of fact, Purdue against this Queens College, another school that's actually located in North Carolina. Right now, it's still competitive. Right now, Queens is down by 12 points as second half is just back underway, but still very much in the game, and it's been pretty fun. I've been kind of enjoying this one, so it's been pretty tight. But yeah, just March Madness, man. I just love it. Every year, I look forward to it, man. And I'm glad I got to sit back and really enjoy these games these last couple of days. I wish Villanova could get the job done. First time back in tournament in 4 years for them. And they took an L today to the Utah State Aggies, unfortunately. But that was also a great game. A lot of good offense, high-powered offense in that game. Both teams going back and forth. Actually, that 10-point differential that just came off a great effort from Utah State as they went on a big run to end that game and put the clamps down on Villanova. But that was a fun game. That was also a very fun, entertaining game to watch today as well, for sure.
Well said. Hell yeah. Go right ahead. Adam, what's your thoughts on March Madness? How it's been so far watching the games? Have you watched any of the games? Or what was the one game you want to talk about? Talk about a lot of games. What you want to talk about?
Listen, I only watched VCU and North Carolina towards the end because I was just scrolling through and I knew the tournament was on, but I forget that it's wall-to-wall coverage. So I just strolling by and I put the game on and I was impressed. I only got the last half of the game when it was basically tied. And I was like, wow, first off, a game getting to 75 points in college is interesting, right? The other thing is Tar Heel Blue. If you know anything about the Tar Heel Blue, they have two of the greatest athletes in the sports that we both love came from Tar Heel Blue, Lawrence Taylor and Michael Jordan, right? So you kind of stop when that team is on. So I was watching, I'm like, oh, wow. VCU was giving them a hell of a run, and I just could not see. I could just see that UNC was buckling under the pressure, It was just their shot. They just looked tight and tight. Meanwhile, VCU looked loose and loose. They just kept going and kept battling and playing defense. And then you watch that like last sequence, right, when TCU hits a shot. Basically, UNC hits one, and they tie the game up. And then they go down, and VCU misses. Right, then they go down and they give the guy a look, and he throws up a prayer, and you're like, oh, my God, UNC is going to win at the buzzer, and they don't. They go into overtime, and then back and forth it went in overtime, changing shots. But it wasn't that VCU was getting bad shots. I feel like UNC was getting bad shots. They weren't really executing their offense. They ended up on the free throw line a couple of times, which saved them. Otherwise, the game probably would have been over before that, because VCU actually hit a couple of shots prior to that to go up. And then remember the game was I think it was 75-75 or 76-76, and they went up and they tied it. And the only way the UNC tied it was with fouls. And you're like, man, this UNC team is looking gassed. And VCU just kept fighting. And then, like I said, the last 30 seconds of the game, the guy does a little shake and bake and does a step back jumper and puts it in from behind the arc. And next thing you know, you're seeing an upset. And I'm like, wow, this is why people watch March Madness. This is why it gets the burn that it gets, because things like this happen. And that's why we forget about sports. We're too busy, worrying about social media and basically chopping everybody down. At the end of the day, this is what sports is about. It's about a team that is a Cinderella, or would be a Cinderella. I mean, they're number 11, facing a number 6 UNC team, which was, like Max said, up by 19, right? Up by 19. If you're a fan at the bar, you're probably turning and watching a different game because you're like, UNC's got this in the bag, right? Then you look back, and all of a sudden, the game is tied, and in overtime, you're like, holy crap. And maybe you put a few shekels on UNC, and now they're gone because this team just did not give up. And they were coached well. Their young coach on the sideline, I think it was, I don't know who their coach is on their sideline, but he just had them in the right positions. And you could just see them defensively. They were not giving up. They didn't give up easy buckets. UNC had to earn everything. And that's why they went to the charity stripe. They just couldn't finish around the rim. Meanwhile, VC was finishing around the rim, right? They had a couple guys getting the rebounds, and they were still flying to the ball. So I really liked their effort. And it really was impressive to watch. I know it was not the full game, so I can't give you the back and forth, but I can give you what I saw. And I really thought it was interesting for a guy who's not a huge college basketball fan. Football fan, yes. I can watch college football with just about anybody. But with college basketball, I've never been huge into it just because of my personal preference growing up. I always loved the pros. But this is why, again, you watch it, because things like this, sometimes you just sit there and you happen to be flipping through channels and you get this great epic matchup towards the end. And it was a great back and forth because you were on the edge of your seat. Who's going to hit? For the first 3 minutes of overtime, nobody hit a bucket. So you're like, who's going to end this game here? Because we knew at that point, when you got that deep into overtime, you only had like a minute and a half, 2 minutes to go. You said next bucket's probably winning, right? At least that's what
I was saying the same thing in my mind watching it. The exact same thing.
You're like looking at the game, you're like their next bucket wins, because I don't know if this other, and that's what happened. One bucket goes in for VCU, and that kind of, you saw UNC scramble, and they had a shot at it, a couple shots to get it with a minute to go. But it was really, when you watched it, that last 5 minutes, like I said, it was just next bucket. It was basically that. You're in a pickup game. Next bucket wins. It's like, how you're at the last thing in your court when you're a kid and your mom was calling you in and you got like a minute left to play. Next bucket. You didn't even get next bucket wins. That's exactly what I felt like. And that's what happened. So I'm glad that it was a great game. Hats off to VCU. North Carolina, better luck next year. I'm sorry to say it. You're a powerhouse. You didn't come through. So bye-bye. Goodbye, VCU. Hopefully you do well in the next round.
And just one more thing I actually wanted to add on to that. Just the whole thing about the tournament, what I like about the tournament too, is because you get to see these teams that you have not seen one lick of. Like, who the hell know Siena? Like I said, Siena. I see a damn Siena game all season long. Know nothing about no damn Siena. But got to find out, and they went out there and they earned some damn respect, even though in defeat they still earn this respect just because they go out there and put on that kind of a show. I mean, Duke yesterday rolled out of bed. Those kids rolled out of bed yesterday morning and thought all they had to do was show up to the arena. Well, guess what? They did just exactly that, and they got their teeth nearly kicked in. They did get their teeth kicked in. The hell with that. Like I said, at the end of the game, Duke's coach acknowledged, like, yes, I was out coached today, by the Siena coach. I mean, to me, it's just things like that, stories like that. Like I said, this school right here, I'm watching this Queens. You see none of these guys all season long. You've never seen or heard anything about any of these schools. You get to see some of these other players that these schools that have talented players on their team, guys you would never even get a chance to see otherwise, but they get an opportunity to showcase their talents on this stage, and you get an opportunity to see what some of the little guys are all about as well, man. That's the beauty of the NCAA tournament, man. That's one of the things I love the most about it. Is getting even a little more information about some of the talent that's out there that you wouldn't know about just because they're not playing in the big national programs that get all the airplay on ESPN and whatnot.
Great point, because I remember those type of things. We always talk about a Cinderella story or some team like Marquette coming out of nowhere when they had Dwayne Wade, and pulling off upsets and things like that. And it makes you realize how fantastic the tournament really is. And what really makes it fascinating is what you said, Mac. A team like Siena, who, again, if you're making a bracket the week before, you're probably not even thinking that Duke's even going to have a problem with this team, right? Not even the game's not even really close. I saw one game, it was like a damn near blowout, right? The other team barely scored any points. The fact that Siena gave a fight and they played wire to wire with this team, it really gives you, some admiration towards that college programs, that there are still some kids out there that love the game and want to go up against the best for this reason. I'm sure that team was hyped all week going in. You're playing the best team. You ain't got no shot. You ain't got this. You ain't got that. You're coming from this small school. This is the biggest school in college basketball, and you go out and put up a performance like that. To me, that's a win for Siena, regardless of how you want to look at it. Yeah, a loss, I get it. But when you look at what the school did, the grand scheme of thing, the macro level of this game, that was a win. Because now more kids who might not be able to get to Duke might want to go to Siena now. Oh, man, I have a chance to get and play in a big-time game. I get to see a team that I don't normally get to see. This is what makes things fun, Mac. You said it perfectly, and I just wanted to share that same sentiment.
Well said to both of you guys. I love it. Good takes. One thing I do like about the tournament too, it's one and done. You know what I'm saying? There's no second game. So it's like what you guys are saying about Duke. It's like you can't wake up just overlooking anybody, because everybody can hear in this tournament. Yeah, in recent years we've seen where it's lopsided, but especially in the day and age of the transfer portal, where we just seen Indiana host the Natty for football, I believe anything is possible in college sports. And when you have a team and everybody is on the same page, kind of like what Siena, nobody but probably Siena and Sienna's people thought that Siena was gonna do what they did yesterday, and for them to come in and put up a performance against Duke. I personally didn't watch the game, but seeing Duke and knowing Duke has always been like that basketball program, that collegiate school, kind of like Gonzaga and Villanova and all those other schools that come to mind when I think about basketball. Duke is up there, and great way to put Siena on the map. I'm not trying to just repeat whatever you guys said. But that being said, though, I love the fact that the tournament is one and done, and if not giving it your best, then you're gonna fold for the evening, and better luck next year. That being said, though, one team that you guys want to win it all, I'll let Matt go first, and then Adam, you can go second. Or one team, maybe you don't want them to win them all, but one team you're gonna kind of keep your eye out throughout the tournament. You're kind of rooting for, I guess.
Well, I'll go first because I don't really know the tournament that well. I'm just going to ride with VCU, right? They might end next week, but a win like that, you don't know what that does to your program and how that could propel you into the next round, right? You hope they're not feeling themselves. I don't really know the tournament. I'm probably not going to look. I hate to say this, maybe I'm being lazy, but I got a lot going on this weekend, so I can't really follow the same way. But if I'm the Rams, VCU, I just beat North Carolina. And I don't care if they're the 6th seed, they're North Carolina. 2 teams in the NCAA. I guarantee you ask most college basketball fans, 2 teams that they talk about the most are probably UNC and Duke. Why? Because we normally see them towards the end in the Final Four and sometimes fighting for championships and things of that ilk, right? I remember that UNC team that won back in 2005 when I was a young buck, right, with Marvin Gaye Williams and a few other people on that team. I forgetting all their names, but they won. So they were up there. Duke's been there with their coach for a while. So for me, I don't know the tournament. I'm not going to follow it that well. And normally I would probably take a team like Fighting Illini, but I didn't see them win. So I'm just going to go with VCU, and hopefully they do what they need to do and they advance. And maybe next week we're talking to you about VCU getting to the next round.
All full disclosure, I did, fill out my bracket, and I did pick Duke to go all the way, and I think that still is going to happen. I think what happened yesterday was what they needed to understand that they got to be focused and ready. Wasn't for those Boozer brothers, man, I don't know what would have happened to Duke yesterday, because both the Boozer brothers was what held that team together. Ultimately, it was the reason why.
Boozer, as in like Carlos Boozer's sons?
Yeah, both of his sons played for Duke, yeah.
Oh, my God, now I'm old.
And they absolutely were the reason that Duke was able to get the job done yesterday. But if I had to pick my Cinderella story from based off of what I've seen and what I saw yesterday, I'm going with that High Point team, man. That game against Wisconsin, that team showed a lot of grit and they were a lot of toughness, man. They got some players on that basketball team, man. And if they, any low seed could potentially, be one of those big time Cinderella stories this year, going deep into the tournament into like maybe the Sweet 16, Elite 8. I think this High Point team could possibly pull it off. They got a tough Arkansas team tomorrow, so we'll see if they can get by Arkansas tomorrow, man. But if they do, I think this is definitely one of those teams that can go on one of those potentially magical runs, man, from one of the low seeds, man. They're 12 seed in this tournament right now, and I think that's the possibility. They really look. I really was impressed with what I saw from that team yesterday.
Well said, guy. Is there anything you guys want to talk about outside of inside of March Madness before we move on?
I don't have anything else about March Madness right now. I do want to say something else before I forget about it. About something else completely off, not basketball.
Yeah, I thought you were asking about another sport that we watched, because I have another. I have a sport that
it's about a person, a specific person.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll give you the mic and we'll let you go. Go right ahead, Mac.
Just want to say, the world last night, sometime yesterday, I guess in the evening, lost another legend in the world, man. Chuck Norris passing away yesterday at the year 86 years old, man. Somebody
and Mean Joe Green
with the martial. I didn't even hear about Mean Joe Green. Wow. Rest in peace to both of them. Chuck Norris, synonymous with the martial arts world, man. Working with Bruce Lee, Walker, Texas Ranger, man. My grandmother used to have me watching Walker, Texas Ranger. That was her show. That was her god. You know what I mean? Walker, so she would never miss episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. But also, like I said, back in the martial art days, working with Bruce Lee, Way of the Dragon, or AKA Return of the Dragon. It's a movie that goes by 2 different names, but whatever. It's either way, it's the same damn movie. Chuck Norris was the bad guy in that movie that Bruce Lee had to overcome, and just Chuck Norris was a legend, man. And I didn't even realize he was quite 86 years old. I guess I knew he had to be up there, but. Just wanted to acknowledge Chuck Norris. And I didn't know about Mean Joe Green, but definitely rest in peace to Mean Joe Green as well. Part of that Steel Curtain defense. All-time legend as well, man. So rest in peace and condolences to both of their families, man.
Chuck Norris, well said. Like you said, he's been around, martial arts icon. I've seen him in movies and all over the place. I wasn't a Walker Texas Ranger fan, but I didn't know of the show because it came on after Raw on USA. So, I knew of it, but I was like, oh, Chuck Norris, and I would change the channel because I was not really that interested. I probably will go back and binge watch it now that Chuck Norris is gone. And then Mean Joe Green, I found out today as well. Pretty sad about him because, he was one of the first people in the soda industry, the Pepsi commercial where he throws the his jersey to the kid, and he was kind of an icon on that defense that we talked about. That's probably one of the best defenses in the history of the NFL. That really makes the NFL what it was in the modern era. People talk about steel curtain, like you don't get a nickname if you're not a good defense, right? That's just it. And they had Jack Lambert, who I just found out the other day played with a broken leg at one point, which was insane to think about. The guy just taped it up. Apparently, he broke his freaking ankle and taped it up. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? But that was football back in the day. Mean Joe Green, was breaking people's face masks and things on the field. So, we just got, as a sports thing, these guys are both into sports. Martial arts is a sport, whether you want to follow it or not. Chuck Norris was there, led that brigade. Mean Joe Green, Pittsburgh Steeler, part of that history of the NFL. And so we just got to acknowledge them. So, but I went off. I thought you were talking about different sports, so I didn't know Mac was going down that route. But thanks for bringing that up, Mac.
Well said. Well said. Yes, RIP to both of them, and thoughts and prayers with their families as well. And hopefully, they'll rejoice in their lives. And that being said, Matt, Adam, I'm going to pass the mic over to you. You had something to say as well. You can.
I've been following out of the blue. I've been following NASCAR. I've been putting it on, and it's just been interesting to, my father-in-law comes over, and he's not a huge NASCAR fan, but they like cars and stuff. And you put it on, and we're sitting there like, wow, this is really cool. And then you watch it, and you're like, why do they have stages? And now it's all strategic and stuff, and they have stages. He's like, and it's funny, he was sitting there like, oh, they really did the stages for the commercials, right? Because NASCAR used to be, used to do 300 laps and no stoppages, right? You have to do pit row and everything like that. So it's interesting. I was really watching it the last few laps. The first race I watched, the Michael Jordan team won. It was fantastic last finish. It was, it had everything you wanted. It was suspense. The guy came out of it from like third place, and his teammate helped him get into first place by shifting the other cars. And the next race I watched was a huge crash, and there was a long caution flag. And then it was just like you're watching these stages. And when I was a kid, you had to plan your pit stops. Now you basically get a break to get pit stops. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? What is the point? And the point is they wanted more commercial time and all that stuff. And I'm like, you're taking away from the race, because basically you have a bunch of mini races within the one big race, because you could technically be maybe last place, but then you restart the race. And at the end of that stage, you're in a different place than you were.
But don't you like that?
I don't know if I like it. I think it's more for the younger
I like
fans.
it because it gives, I guess that I had fun watching it these past couple of weeks, because I love sports, right? And Sundays is usually for football, but I play fantasy. So I played NASCAR fantasy. And I love the research because in my fantasy, will I say, it helps me if a driver's not in first place. Like say I don't know, maybe Chris Bell is in third, but the restart gives him an advantage. He's not gonna run down to Hamlin. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, well, he did win.
He did. Hamlin did win, absolutely. And shout out to 2311. I think you mentioned that earlier. Off to an amazing story. But I'll let you continue.
Yes, with the Michael Jordan team's been doing good stuff. But it's funny because I do think it's interesting for me, but the breaks are kind of annoying because I'm a generation a little older than you, not too much, but we kind of have ushered in a lot of things that sports is not today, right? Like, absolutely. I was the last team it's not that far away, but the last people that really understood the racetrack the way it was. Now people are not going to remember that you had a continuous loop. You're not going to see the stars that I saw in terms of the Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s and the Jeff Gordons. I mean, I came up and I was telling my father-in-law, he's like, oh, who was your favorite racer? I was like, oh, I love Bill Elliott and Tony Stewart. Like, those are my two guys. Tony Stewart, because he used to fight everybody. He was so fucking pissed off in his Home Depot car, and I fucking loved him because, he almost fought Jeff Gordon once because Jeff Gordon, did a shitty move and cut him off and put him in a crash. And that motherfucker was waiting for him, pardon my French, at the end, I'm going to kick your ass for doing that shitty move. So, of course, I love Tony Stewart in that regard. Bill Elliott, I loved Reese's and McDonald's as a kid, and he had the Reese's and McDonald's car growing up. I think he also wore 99, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But I loved it. Now I'm kind of getting back into it. The other day I also watched. They had the open road course for Formula One. That shit was crazy too. I was like, yo, this is insane.
Oh, don't
Like,
you think Formula One is so insane?
Oh man, it's like I'm not saying I'm a huge racing fan, but I'm just getting into other kind of sports as an outlet.
It's fun to flip through the channels, see a sport that maybe you're not as invested into, maybe as far as football or basketball or baseball, but outside of the big three, right? But like to be a casual fan of these racing sports like NASCAR and like F1, like I remember growing up, never really watching Tony Stewart or Jimmy Johnson, even Kevin Harvick, but knowing the names, Danny Patrick, and all these NASCAR people, right? And it's just now I'll be laying down and I'll be like, you know what? Let me flip through the channels, and then you see these sports you necessarily not follow, and it sucks too because by the time the playoffs come around for NASCAR, it's the early season for the NFL. So it's kind of hard to finish off a NASCAR season when you're just trying to watch the NFL season. So, but as a casual, I get exactly what you're coming from.
Yeah. Right, baseball's heated up too, but it's just interesting. And I put on some hockey game as well because of Americans winning the United States in the gold. You know, I watched that gold medal game. That shit was fantastic to watch. And so, you know, I was so I didn't mean to get emotional, but I wasn't emotional, but I was like, yeah, like I yelled at my, showed some passion for the team. And because I love the Olympics and I love my country, and when my boys do well, I do it. But it just is bridging a gap to sports that I don't normally follow. So the last couple of weeks I've just been cruising, and they've been on. And because it's been cold, because we can't go outside, because it's been a long thaw here on the East Coast. I know Mac feels that.
Here at that winter storm, huh?
You're tired of the fucking cold. Sometimes
it's spring. Like, come on, brother. Give these guys a break.
You tend to watch sports that you don't really, want to get into. And like I said, my father-in-law and my brother-in-law are both car guys. They're like into cars. And so it's good to watch. Meanwhile, they like American cars, and Toyota's winning all these races. And it's just funny to see, like, Toyota, who's not known, is a family car, not known for anything, is out here, demolishing these American race car drivers, and the biotechnics that go into it, like with everything and how the dimensions are and the weights that they put into the car and how they've configured it, and the stages are different now because it's now more strategic. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't strategic back when it was a full race, but do I pit if this is the last stage? Do I need to go to the pit row? Do I just ride these tires out? Like, these are things that you never thought about. Now you're thinking about, because the race is so condensed in these stages and you get points for winning the stages too. You can win the overall race. Great. That's what you want when you want to win the whole points thing in NASCAR and be in the playoffs, like you said. But you can also win stages, and that gives your team points as well. So if your team ends up with top 5 finishes in each stage, they get points. And it's just like, this is just so intricate with that. And the other day I watched this they had the highest peak in the racetrack I ever seen, because it was a road course. And so they were like 300 feet in the air getting to watch this race. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I just found it fascinating. And being that we're on a talk show about mostly sports and a little pop culture with Chuck Norris, I thought I'd just bring that in and sprinkle that NASCAR experience. And it's gotten me kind of interested this week to kind of see where they're going now. I know they're in Darlington right now for Formula One, for F1 racing. I don't know what they're going to be doing on Sunday, or if there's a pre-race. I don't know, but it's been fun.
Absolutely. Well said. Mac, any thoughts about NASCAR?
No.
All right.
I have no thoughts at all about NASCAR.
Alrighty. No, but I absolutely get it, Adam. I've been watching it as well.
I'm just sitting there like, I'm like looking at he not give 2 flying F's.
I respect NASCAR. I know a lot of the guys. I know a lot of the racers. I know a lot of the top guys and stuff like that, but I don't know anything about the sport. I can't speak of it with any kind of any form of intelligence. So,
I love it.
My rant wasn't that intelligent either. I was just telling you I happen to be putting it on, and it's kind of exciting. So.
Yeah, I love it. Let's get into a sport that you do know. Let's get the baseball news from you. I know the spring season is in full effect. What's going on in the world of baseball? Talk about your team. Talk about all the teams. What's your thoughts on the baseball season so far? I know it's still spring training, but I'll let you go.
Well, spring training is moving along. World Baseball Classic just wrapped up. USA dropped the ball against Venezuela in the championship game, but here now, I mean, everybody's kind of back with their teams for the rest of spring training, actually, which is basically over as the regular season does get underway, I believe, next week. And the Mets are what the Mets are, man, right now, and I got to kind of give them that New York Giant treatment a little bit, man. I'm not gonna keep falling for it. I fell for it. Oh, last year I fell for it bad, man. I thought we were gonna be the big bad Mets last year, and we were the big bad Mets, very very bad, and I'm not falling for it again. I mean, yeah, once again, looks good on paper. Soto looks like he's gonna come in and just be a monster. A lot of moves. We're gonna life after Pete Alonso. Now here as he's moved on to the Orioles, no Brandon Nimmo this year, as he's moved on as well. So, a lot of nice little moves, nice pieces. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to I got to wait and see with the Mets, man, and see what they're really all about, man. I just can't. I thought last year they made moves in the offseason last year that was going to really kick in the door. And they were going to just be that team that was going to go out there and compete with the Dodgers. Oh, my God. I can't believe I actually said that at one point before the season last year, that the Mets were going to be out there truly ready to compete with the Dodgers. What a joke that was. So this year, man, I just want to see what they can do, man, once we get to the real deal. Been a solid preseason, solid spring training, though. I can't deny. I've seen some impressive things. And I do expect a better season than what we got a year ago for sure, but I'm not willing to bet anything much more than just it being a better season at this point, because this team has a way of letting me down every time, man. So
before I go to Adam, I will ask you this. Being here in California, you hear a lot. I'm not a big baseball fan, but you hear a lot of the Dodgers this, the Dodgers that, and obviously I've been following the Dodgers because of Shohei. I can't even say I'm a Dodgers fan. But as a person that sees it and hears it, do you, as a baseball fan, believe that there should be a salary cap in baseball? But a team can't just go and swoop up all the greatest players and just try to buy championships like what the Dodgers has been doing in the last couple of years. No offense against the Dodgers, but let's call a spade a spade. Should there be a salary cap in baseball?
Oh man, it's tough to say because at this point, I just feel like it's a dog-eat-dog world, man. I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the beast, man. You can't hate on the Dodgers for having more money and having enough money to be able to get that top talent in there. The Yankees used to do it, and nobody seemed to be bitching about it then. So it's like, at the end of the day, right now the Dodgers are it, man, and they're a destination right now, and they got the best player in the world on their team. And he's getting a boatload of money. So, I just think the salary cap thing, I mean, is it truly going to even the playing field? Not really sure, man. I think the cream always rises to the top regardless, man. And, you got to figure out a way to get some more money, get some more revenue, man, to be able to get that extra cash to be able to pay the top players to come to you, man. But,
what I kind of noticed on casually following it for the past couple of years is baseball is such a different sport, whereas in like you can go to any NBA or NFL team and the field and the court is going to be the same dimensions wherever team you go to. Baseball, you have different sizes with different perks and stuff like that.
absolutely.
And I like that. I like that answer because I kind of feel like you look at Toronto, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but like in baseball, even though, the Dodgers has the most stacked team, it doesn't mean a team can come in and play good baseball and knock them off. We just seen them almost get knocked out by Toronto Blue Jays, right? And it's almost as if I see that point being taken a lot with as dog eat dog world. if you can't beat them, go outplay them, and that's what I can kind of respect about the sport. It's like, we just seen Toronto almost upset them, and yes, obviously I forget the guy's name right now, but they grabbed another big timer in the offseason, and you see a lot of teams that it's anyone's chance at the end of the day. It's still a professional sport. So even though you have a super teams, we see it all the time in basketball where the super team doesn't always win the NBA championship. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well,
Any thoughts about baseball?
I mean, you're interesting. You say that because, like Max said, the Yankees did that many times, and now teams are going where they want to win championships. And it's unfortunate because we don't have the Mamba mentality in sports where you want to beat everybody, not join everybody, but you go where the highest bidder is, right? That's what sports has become. And baseball, I economically not familiar with their logistics, but a salary cap is past due. That was years ago. They should have implemented the salary cap. They have not. Mm-hmm. So at this point, it's no point in doing that because, like you said, if it's an arms race, they almost got beaten last year in LA, right? But they had war of attrition, as you know, where they just outlasted their opponent because their bats got hot eventually and their pitching came through, right? They had the two best players on the field. They had one of the best pitchers in the game, and they had one of the best players in the game. That pitcher came in and stifled the Toronto Blue Jays that last game to eliminate them. So in baseball, I feel you can have an arms race like you do, but it really does come down to your hitting. It's not the way you build a team in baseball is not similar like in the NFL or the NBA. In baseball, you bring in a big bat, but that big bat could suck for you, right? He cannot come through for you. Right? Look at Juan Soto. He came in with big expectations
or something like that.
Right. He wanted big expectations, and he didn't live up to the expectations yet, right? Same thing as Juan Carlos Stanton when he first came in with the Yankees. He was injured a lot, and you're like, well, and he didn't really help them and propel them. He still really hasn't at this moment really getting them over the hump. But those are the type of players that, you bring them in and you pay all these free agency dollars, and maybe they're not right. Like A-Rod came in, he did what he did. They won a championship with him. People still hated him, but he was a hired gun. And you're going to see that in baseball a lot more because of lack of a luxury tax. But nobody cared when people were going to play with Tom Brady, right? No one cared when people were going to go do certain things in the NFL. It's just a matter of timing. Like if you look at a guy like Paul O'Neill, right? He won championships. He's a guy that if he wasn't on the Yankees, he would probably be one of those guys who wants to go play on a team like that can win him a championship, right? You have Ohtani, and I can go to play with Ohtani. I'm going to go do that. Oh, I can go play with the Orioles because they're going to give me the most money, even though I may not like Baltimore. I'm going to go do it now because I'm making generational wealth outside of that. And baseball's been known for that. I've seen baseball a ton of times where there's been one guy on the team who's excellent, and the rest of the team's ass. But you're going to the ballpark to see that guy, like Mark McGwire in St. Louis in 1998, nobody on that team was that good. But when he was going for the home run record, you were like, oh, I'm going to go see Mark McGwire play, right? Every year. They didn't do much with him. Same thing with the Cubs back in the day. They weren't that great, but they had Sammy Sosa. So you would go to the park to see Sammy Sosa, right? And, I think baseball's changed a lot. And it's going to be an arms race, and if you can't beat them, join them, right? So that's what a lot of teams are doing. As far as the Yankees go, I think they're status quo. I'm on Aaron Boone watch this year because if they don't get to the World Series, because you can't go to the World Series, and I get it, you lose to the Dodgers, right? We all know the home run, the grand slam heard from around the world, right? Which basically that game one grand slam really crushed the Yankees that World Series. And since then, they've kind of regressed. They went to playoffs last year, but they were expected to do bigger things. And right now, they're probably bringing back a very similar team. And it's hard to say where they're going to get their talent with the lack of pitching that they have and the lack of depth in their bat. Are they going to be able to sustain what they do? And we know with Aaron Boone, they're a hot home run team. They live and die by the long ball. If they don't get the long ball, because Aaron Judge is exhausted or Juan Carlos Stanton is out of the lineup, it's going to be tough. I know Jacoby Ellsbury, he played a friggin' great year last year. I mean, you have to rely on that guy having another great year. And then the Yankees need to rely on guys like Ellsbury and others to kind of carry that lineup along. And if they don't, they're going to struggle. And it won't be for lack of trying, but for a team that has one of the highest, you call it salary caps, the deepest pockets in baseball, I'm just surprised at the lack of maneuvers they made and the running it back effect that they're having. And if they don't make the playoff, if they don't make the World Series, I got to say, Aaron Boone, you got to go. Because at what point does he get moved? Because we've had guys, legends like Joe Torre and others, Girardi won a fucking World Series and he gets kicked out off the team. But yet this guy, Aaron Boone's done nothing with this team. And don't act like he hasn't had stacked lineups. Don't act like they didn't spend money for him. He's had teams that have done, at one point,
Aaron Judge is a dog. I know who that is.
Aaron Judge, they Juan Carlos Stanton, but their whole lineup is a bunch of hitters, right? And what do they always lack? Pitching. And then decision-making. In critical moments in playoff games, Aaron Boone tends to do dumb shit. And he puts in guys that are, the one time I was watching the game, he put in a guy that hadn't played in 6 weeks. The guy was coming off the injury list, and that's the pitcher you're going to start in a game off the bat against their best lineup? And I'm like, how is that even feasible? What do they go on to do? Well, that guy comes in, and what happens? A couple runs get knocked in, and then you're scratching your head like, I wonder why you made that decision when you had other pitchers in the roster, right? And I think they need to find out if their AAA is good. I know the Yankees, I was talking to Alex, and he mentioned that the Yankees seem to love their farm prospects. And I think that's where it kills a team like the Yankees, is the willingness or the lack thereof willingness to trade prospects to get better. In order to get better in this league, you've got to be willing to wheel and deal, right? You can't let games pass you by because, we're going to hold on to this guy who's a great prospect who may not be here in a year. Well, guess what? I want to win now. And right now, I can get a big bat or I can get a big pitcher, but it's going to cost you something. That's what's called currency. That's why people need to understand, like in the draft, in the NFL, when you get like 10 draft picks, that's currency. I now have currency to maneuver up and down the draft board. If you have good prospects and you need pitching, unfortunately, you've got to part ways with the prospect. Otherwise, the good pitcher that you want is not going to come here because they're going to be like, what the hell are you giving me? A bag of fucking balls? Like, what the fuck do I want this for? Unless you're doing a salary dump or something like that. So I'm off my soapbox now. But the Yankees, we'll see what they do. I don't like that they're not on Netflix. Not because of Netflix. I have nothing against Netflix, but I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and he's like, I'm losing the integrity of these sports because they're all going to these streaming platforms where you have to pay for the sport now, right? Where we didn't have to with the Yankees on TV or the Mets on TV or, cable TV. You have SNY, you can buy the sports package. But now streaming services, it limits your audience. It really does. Even though you might think that you have a broader audience, a lot of people with Netflix, they're going to be scrolling for the Bridgerton or whatever other dumb shows on there. Love is Blind, whatever reality shows on there.
You want to know something crazy about that, Adam? Is I live here close to Los Angeles. I'm like 2 miles up the coast, right? And like all games from my area to probably further greater Los Angeles area, Dodgers, Lakers, and Clippers is blacked out on regular television because you have to go to Spectrum. And the only way to have Spectrum is to get it through a cable provider. So I don't watch any Clippers, I don't watch any Lakers, or I don't watch any Dodgers games, and I think that's pretty fucked up. The only Dodgers games you can watch is the ones in the playoffs, or you have to go to a board. I think that's insanity. So the local teams you can't even watch. Unless you subscribe to a cable package.
That's what I call bullshit too. Because that's just a monopoly in itself. And I was in New York. I grew up with the Yankees. They did not. The Yankees were prime viewing, right? I mean, they made a whole network for the Yankees, the Yes Network, right, just for Yankee baseball. And now here you are on Netflix. Like I can't even watch wrestling these days anymore because it's on this.
Because you gotta get ESPN
platform and that platform and this. And like Thursday Night Football, I was talking to somebody. The only reason it's bad because they have Thursday Night Football, whatever, but it's on a platform like Prime. It's not even on national TV, it's on Prime. And it's just, you're getting it, to me, it's free revenue, right? Because someone's going to pay for the subscription, so it's not like they're not getting money from Netflix. They're making money, plus they're making money on the ad revenue. So there's a double fisting that, and I just think baseball is selling out to Netflix, and good for Netflix. You're getting sports, right? Good for
Can
you.
we just say, like, could we all agree that Netflix, like, can you have more NFL games because of the fact that, like, they do good on Black Friday? Like NFL, when they do NFL games, like, it's good quality. You know, I like their production value. I like the little graphics that they have. So the very few NFL games that we get a year, I like watching the NFL on Netflix. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I think
I'm not saying you're not hearing what I'm saying. I don't.
Yeah,
care
no,
that
I
it's
get
broke.
what you're saying. Yeah,
I'm
but
just
there's
saying,
just
like,
too much spread out. Everything's too spread out.
Right. When you look at it
Yeah.
and you're watching sports, I don't need a menu on top of a menu to find out where the hell you're playing. Oh, you're playing on the Peacock, but not the normal NBC show. You're playing on this stream. Like, what the?
Oh, yeah,
when
Peacock
I'm
is
used to turn on NBC, turn on ABC, turn on Fox, and I got my games. Now I have to find Peacock and CBS, Paramount Plus, and Premium Plus, and all this plus, and it's like,
What the kids will say
gosh,
nowadays, you're a triple OG unk, Adam. Welcome to the unk stats.
Listen, I am finally an old person. I am the curmudgeon on the sandbox. I never thought I would be, but damn it, I am. I'm like all these streaming platforms.
But that's what alienates. It alienates the older audience.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
like yesterday, for instance, when I was at work yesterday, and when I was getting off work, my relief officer that was coming in to relieve me, he comes in, and I got the game on. It was like the first game that started off the day yesterday. I'm watching that on Paramount Plus. He's like, oh wow, you can watch a game on your phone. I said, how do you do that? He's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, this game's on CBS right now, so I can watch it on Paramount Plus because they show all the CBS stuff live on. You can watch CBS live TV on Paramount Plus app. He's like, oh, he said, I don't know. He said, I don't know anything about that. I just got all I know about it, turned it on my TV and watched it on my TV channel, whatever, channel 3, whatever it is. You know, I'm like, yeah, see, that's what I mean. And that's the same thing with Thursday Night Football. It alienates the older audience. Well, I mean, a lot of these older folks, they're still just kind of watching regular old TV. You know what I mean? They're sitting there having all the streaming services and this, that, and the other going back and forth. So it just, to me, that's what alienates the most. And I think that's kind of unfortunate because a lot of the older guys, they want to be in the mix. They want to be able to enjoy the sports and entertainment the same way everybody else does. And they don't really know much about all of these streaming services and whatnot. So that's, to me, is who I think is just, it takes it so long right there.
And real fast, Adam, you notice how none of it with a guide or anything like that? They just expect you to, just go on Prime, just figure it out. Like there's no you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like,
well, the thing is, when you get to these streams,
go ahead, Adam.
They have like a guide within a guide. They have the home screen, what's trending now, this, that. Like sometimes I'm trying to find my continue to watch, which used to be right on the bottom, but now it's like, what's new? Top 10. This, I'm like, now it's taking me 4 or 5 scrolls just to get to resume watching a show that I'm looking to watch. Like, I'm not trying to be old. I'm just saying these platforms used to be what they were. You bought them because you didn't want to see commercials. You bought them because you wanted to binge watch old TV shows and binge watch new shows. Now, I've got everything under the sun. TV's almost obsolete now, right? And it's just, like, I just want to consume my sport. Like, I don't even get SportsCenter, which used to be on everything, right? So, I watch NFL Network. That's what the compromise was on my package. That I was like, I can't afford all these $100, internet, $100 this, $100. And before you know it, you're paying just as much as you used to pay for cable, for cutting off cable, because you got to pay $10 for this streaming service. $10. Next thing you know, you got 10 streaming services. That's $100 worth of streaming, and you only watch 2 shows. You only watch like 2 shows. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Paramount Plus, I go on there. There's a ton of shit on there. You know what I watch on Paramount Plus? Fucking Ninja Turtles. Okay, that's what I watch for my kids. Ninja Turtles. And you know where I get that? I got Tubi. Tubi is fucking free. You know what fucking free is? Tubi. I can watch whatever movie on there, and I'm like, damn, I'm paying for all this service, and I get the same bullshit TV on Tubi that I do for all these other things, and I have to pay for this fucking shit. Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, that's what I'm talking. I'm looking at Pluto TV. They're laughing at me like, "Oh, you're paying money. Come watch Pluto TV." I'm like, "Fuck you, Pluto TV." With all my other fucking subscriptions, Tubi's the same way. I'm watching the NFL channel on Tubi. I go to NFL Network, and the same shit's playing. I'm like, I paid $50 for the NFL Network when I'm free for Tubi. Like, that's what I'm talking about. This is what this fucking stream. I'm sorry to be an old man right now. And
I'm 30. Shit. I'm 33 and I feel the same concerns. I mean, like, I watched a retro YouTube short the other day, and it's all like, "Don't you miss the guide?" Thought I'll never say this, but don't you miss the TV guide? It's like, now that everything is overstimulated.
I miss hotel programming.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got that guide channel at the hotel, right?
The guide channel,
they tell you what fucking channels they got. I just watch that for nostalgia now. I go to the hotel. I didn't even put on TV. I just put on the guide to listen to the music. And I'm like, ha, I'm back. I can win again. You know what I mean? Because I know it's coming on at 8 o'clock. I'll see you later. Fucking Tom Cruise and Top Gun. I'll see you at 8 o'clock when I'm done with the beach. Why? Because, hey, guess what? I saw it in the guide. I'm coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and everything is oversaturated, overstimulated. You can't pick a show. You scroll forever. I was in the bathroom, but I heard what you said about the continue watching. They seem to have hid that tab. Now you have to endless scroll just to get to that tab. And the endless scrolling, man, the ways these machine companies just program our minds to just endless scroll. I don't like it. And yeah, there's just oversaturated in content right now that you can't decide. And to be honest, I do miss the old fashioned, just the guide, and just be able to know what show you're gonna watch at what time. I do love the ability to binge things nowadays, but the ability to, like, for instance, the only show I watch outside of sports right now that I kind of follow weekly is Survivor, right? So I'm watching Survivor 50 weekly, and it's on Paramount Plus. I love Paramount Plus. There's a lot of great things to watch on there. But that Max said, it does come with the CBS, right? So you can watch CBS, so you don't need to pay another subscriber to get CBS. And now that I'm watching this, like 4 weeks in, I kind of miss that rating a week, right? Because sometimes when you just press skip, it's always good to binge a series, but the gratitude you get was like, you know what, I waited all week. It's kind of like a Sunday football game, right? I waited all week to see my team play. So a lot of the time nowadays, like, this youth, they can't understand what we all go through, because I grew up in the early 2000s, and I was the last generation that had to experience what we all have to experience, is the factor of waiting for something, saving your allowance to buy something. Everything is so instantaneously nowadays to these kids that they can just press the skip button, or they can just move on to the next episode. And this is not me versus the younger generation. This is just, now that everything is so on demand, that things just seem more complex. I'll land the plane there. Go right ahead. Put a bow on that, please.
I'm just tired of the sports going on to streaming services, because the whole point of my streaming services was not to pay extra for now sports, right? And I think AEW does it perfectly. They are on normal TV, and they happen to just be on HBO, who owns TNT. So they are already built in. They didn't have to buy and go to Netflix and do all of that stuff. And they're just, their product is on twice a week. When meanwhile you have the WWE, who apparently there's rumors that they're not, the ESPN is not happy with them because of their streaming. I'm telling you why. Because when you have on Netflix one night and you have SmackDown on another night, on like tonight on a Friday night, you're not in the prime viewing. Well, you have Wednesday night for Dynamite, and then Saturday night not main event, but Saturday night, whatever they have for AEW. I just feel their product is better because they're on free cable TV. You don't have to go and scroll. And I'm just saying, I understand why the teams are doing it. It's more ad revenue, free eyeballs, free money. It just gets annoying to have to now buy a streaming service to go watch CBS Sports, or buy a streaming service to get the Sunday NFL, like the NBC NFL, right? And you do all that. So I just thought it was kind of lame that baseball was doing that. That's all.
Well said. Well said. Let's move on to football and the Giants, football and the NFL. We'll probably go on good for 30 to see where the show takes us. I just really wanted to open up the mic to you guys, have an open conversation about it. I'm gonna give the mic over to Mac, whatever you want to talk about, whether it be the draft, whether it be any additional free agents that we picked up since the last time we talked, any free agents that you're eyeing, that you're hoping to wait, maybe we can sign. I know we did clear up some cap room, so we do have money to basically go after anybody we wanted to. But in in respect to the salary cap, I know we're not going to go out there and blow all our money. But that being said, anything you want to talk about Giants related, NFL related rumors, trade rumors,
Well,
anything, go right ahead.
First off, Mac, I saw your video. All right, you better give Evan Neal more credit than that. Okay, I know you're talking about Josh Zudu coming back. He was talking about Josh Zudu, and then he goes throw shade on my man Evan Neal. I think he's trying to put out there in the universe to get my man kicked off the team so he looks like a genius. I'm telling you right now. The day is coming. Evan Neal, I've talked to him on the phone personally. I personally went to Evan. I said, "Look, man, I got to bet with my friend Mac."
Imagine Adam really did that.
He told me that you're not going to make it. He said you're a lazy fat bum that should be flipping burgers at Burger King. And Evan Neal looked at me on the phone because it's a video call, and he said, "What did he say about me? I'm going to make this damn team." And I said, "You go, Evan. You make this damn team. You make me proud to be the only supporter on your island." And if you know me, folks, I've been on an island before. This one's an island of trash. Okay, the first one was an island of sand with Daniel Jones. This one is a landfill. I know this guy's probably not going to make the team, but damn it, Mac, I want you to respect him. And while you're throwing shade on my man, I'm going to go to your guy, Josh Zudu, okay? And I'm going to say, you know what, Josh Zudu, you need to be on the first bus out of here, okay? Because you're not making the team because my man, Evan Neal, that's right, 73, top 5 pick in the draft, he's going to be taking your spot. So Josh Zudu, don't get comfortable. Don't think you're making the 53-man roster because you're not. My boy Evan Neal is. Remember, he's from, what's that school? Roll Tide, Alabama? Yeah, that's right.
Oh, well, I don't think either one of those jokers is making it. Like I said, I'm not. If I was a betting man, I'm not putting any money down on it. Like I said, point blank, I'm just not. I can't do it. Won't do it. I just look at them as what they are, man. They're a couple of camp bodies until they prove they're more than just camp bodies. Joshua Zudu is absolute doo-doo. If he's not playing, if he's not even being when he got me signed, it has to be to play guard. Like I said, I just can't. This dude cannot play tackle in the NFL. I don't know why he got the amount of chances at the tackle position that he got. Once he got Daniel Jones nearly killed, that should have been the end of that experiment. Yet still, they continued to roll him out at tackle anyway. You drafted him to be a guard, and yet you just thought, oh, it's a good idea to make this guy be a tackle. Let him be our backup left tackle on top of that. No, it was a terrible experiment, and he's on his last legs. I just don't. Like I said, a lot of people have been getting bent out of shape, wondering, oh, why would you resign Evan Neal? Why would you resign Joshua Zudu? Like I said, you got to have people in there. You got to have guys in camp, man, to compete and practice with. Pretty much at the end of the day, you got to bring 190 some odd guys in for training camp and stuff like that. You got to have bodies in there, man. So that's what they are right now at this point. Nobody cares that Evan Neal was once a 7th overall pick in the draft. Nobody cares that Joshua Zudu was once a 3rd-round draft pick that was expected to be able to be a contributor on this football team. At this point, this is a whole new regime, man. So their draft status means nothing at this point. Now it's put up or shut up for both of them. And I just honestly, if I'm a betting man, based off of what I know, what I've seen, I just have no faith in either one of them making this roster. That's just the way I feel about them. But one thing about this team that I'm liking, just watching the moves getting made, something I did talk about yesterday. I did a little quick live stream yesterday, and something I was just talking about was the special teams on this football team, like the attention to the detail in that regard, man. Really making it a point to boast of the special teams, and it makes sense with a head coach like John Harbaugh with the deep special teams background that he has, and just like I said, bringing in guys that are going to be difference makers on the special teams, like that signing like Elijah Campbell. Obviously, he's not coming in expecting him to make some noise on the defensive side of the football. For you're bringing that guy in for what he does on special teams, and that's what I mean. And then upgrading the kicker and bringing in Jason Sanders and upgrading the punter, getting signing the best punter in the NFL. These are things that, like I said, these are the details that haven't been getting enough attention over the last several years from the previous regimes. You know what I mean? I know obviously offense and defense are both, more important in the sense, obviously, to the team, but to the success of the football team. but special teams is just as an important role as well. And it looks like we have a coaching regime, a coach and a regime coming in here that's paying attention to that as well and understanding that is important as well. You've got to have a special team checking. The New York Giants have been notoriously bad on special teams too over the course. We don't talk about it as much because how bad they've just been in general. We're just piling on at this point talking about special teams, but at this point, it is a reality, man. And I like the way we're making moves that are going to absolutely upgrade that unit as well. And just when you watch and look at, I'm just kind of having fun right now at this point, looking at what we've done through free agency thus far, and kind of trying to figure out now what direction is this team going to go come April in the draft. It's tough to tell, man, because you look at all the secondary players they brought in now at this point, re-signing Jason Pinnock back there at safety, and bringing in a couple of the corners that they did, Newsome and Washington, and yeah, still more work to be done, obviously, in the secondary, but up front, I think still also has a lot of work to do, man. I mean, defensive line depth for sure is still something that has to be made a priority on this football team. And what kind of direction do this team go in with number 5 overall pick? Do they trade it back? Do they try to trade back and look for a trade partner to trade back and regain some extra draft capital? Do they go ahead and make that pick? And who is the guy they take? I mean, personally, I'm on a Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs kind of train there. But at the same time, I said it last night, and I'll say it again. If you walk up to that podium, number 5 overall pick, and pick Jeremiah Love, I'll be a little perplexed, but I won't be mad because that's a phenomenal football talent as well, man. And do I think it's our biggest need by any means? No. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to get mad picking a great football player, and that's what he is. So I'm just kind of curious, and I'm excited to see what direction we go when we get to the draft now, because I believe we had a pretty successful free agency period thus far. There's going to be another free agency window as well where there's going to be some more caps from other teams and whatnot. And it'll be fun to see who's going to be available and see who's out there, man, who may become free and somebody who else may join the New York Giants, man. So I'm excited for right now as things progress into the off season. Great to hear the updates I'm hearing about Cam Scatterboo as well. It's like he's going to be ready to go come training camp. He's now running, able to run and work out a lot more. So it's good to see, man. Hopefully getting Malik Neighbors back healthy. Pretty sure he won't be ready to go for training camp, but at the end of the day, as long as we can get him back healthy for maybe potentially the start of the season, it's just look, sky's the limit for this New York Giants. I'm not going to make any of those crazy bold predictions like we're going to turn it around like the Patriots or like Chicago did, but I'm just really, really excited to hopefully see some competent football. And right now, it's baby steps, like Meek Mill said, man. Levels to this shit, man. And I right now, I'm ready to see competent football from the New York Giants again, because we haven't seen that in so long, man. So that alone for me will be a good sign of things to come.
Well said. Before I let Adam go, I love that Meek Mill reference. Absolutely levels to this shit. And when you speak about going offense, right? Because I've been doing the same thing for about a week. Like we all know we all know we want Sonny. We all know we want Downs. But when you look at offensively, right? It's like who can we attack on the offensive side of the ball that could come in day one and automatically put in that work that we need. Yes, we can get a Cornell Tate. Yes, we can trade back and get a Mekhi Lemon. But the number one name that sticks out to me is because he's so damn good, and he's a premier running back, and his position is Love. When you look at it, imagine him. Especially about our aging running backs, right? Because Love is 20. Tyron Tracy's 27. You're really gonna be signing Tyron Tracy when he gets to 28, 29. You look at Singletary. He's aged. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to look at the future of the team, right? You have to draft for the future. When you draft for the future, and you're gonna take an offensive player, I'm taking a Love. Because of the fact that you have Pat now. And even if you didn't have Pat, but now I can imagine that Love, obviously a 3-down back. I'm not going to get into Love because we all did our research on Love. And if you're watching this and you haven't, you've probably been living under a rock. Go watch some Julian Love. Go watch some Jamal Love. That being said, when you look at Love, behind Pat, and then you have Scat. It's like run the damn ball down these teams' throats, physical football, and what the Giants is known for. But the only scare with Love is we have the Tennessee Titans and Brian Dable sitting right there. And I think they're taking Love. And that's why I haven't been mocking him to the Giants, because I honestly feel that even if the Jets go on a limb and take Sonny Styles, the Tennessee Titans is my fear of taking Love, and that's where I have names like Downs. I have names like Tate, but Downs could go before us too when we have Sonny Styles. But that's my biggest fear for the draft is if I want to get excited for Love just as much as I'm excited for Downs and Sonny. But the thing is, we have Tennessee sitting right there, and they need to run it back. And you mix that running back with what they have. Now you're talking about a food. You go Cam Ward at quarterback and Love. I can see Brian Dable looking at Love eating his chops because he just coached Berkeley. So that being said, I'm gonna pass the mic over to Adam.
Well, I mean, I think you defense is a good spot, but since you're kicking it over to offense, there's two guys. The Penn State guard is getting a lot of traction right now as one of the guys the Giants like. And I saw a video of him pancaking people. Oh my goodness, he gets you fired up. And I think that's where the Giants may lean if they don't get Love. The only reason I like Love is because I watch
Vega, I think. Sorry, I'm just saying his name. Vega Ione or something like that.
Yes. Excuse me. So the only reason I like Love is because when you watch that Baldy's breakdown with Picard and watch what Picard does for the offense, and he bounces out with that running back, it's really interesting how well they got so many runs with Henry and running downhill and how he changed the dynamic of the offense. And I think that for me is what Jeremiah Love is going to bring to the table, is that dynamic back that we don't have that can change the field in an instant, right? Think about this. When you go up to the line, you have Dart back there, you have Picard, and now you have Jeremiah Love back there with Isaiah Likely, Malik Neighbors, Darnell Mooney. You're fielding yourself an offense. The only reason I don't believe it's going to be Love, not because I don't believe he's going to make it there, is because the need at guard is so sufficient and so needed that if I could see them saying, you know what, I'm going to take this Penn State guard here because he's rising up the boards. We need somebody in the middle, and then them double backing on that guy from Arkansas, the running back they brought in, who's got that 4.3 speed. He's 6'1", 223 pounds, runs a 4.4. I think it's Arkansas he was coming out of. They can get him in the second round, and now you've got your dynamic back in the backfield. You've got your guard that can plow the way, and now you've got Pritchard who can help with that run blocking, that 12 personnel that you're going to run. And that's what I think they're going to look at. As much as I want Sonny Styles, that's where I'm going. Now, if they get Sonny Styles, I'm going to be ecstatic because I think people don't realize how good he can be for this team and what the Giants actually need, because they see Tremont Edmonds and like, oh, we filled that spot. You still need another spot next to it. But I think the running back room, having a dynamic runner to with Dart, imagine a defense now having to worry about not only handing off, like, yeah, Scatterboo's good. I like Scatterboo. He's a good back. Let's be honest. Is he a breakaway back? No. Is he a guy that's going to turn 0 into 60 and flip the field on you? No, he can get you a big run. I'm not saying he's not going to break a big run, but last year he was more of Mike Olscott. He got you the hard, tough yards when you needed. He ran hard. He did what he needed to do. I think he's a good back. But imagine if you had him and Jeremiah Love. You hit him with the 1-2 punch. You have Jeremiah Love. That's what they did in Baltimore. They had Derrick Henry, and then they bring in their other backs to kind of give him a spell. But if you look at it, when they ran, if you look at that offense was Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and they occasionally threw it to Zay Flowers and Hopkins, right, and Likely when they needed to. And they did a lot of stuff off that run game, because if you look, they had Mark Andrews in the backfield. They had split tight ends. They rolled out their quarterback because people had to respect the run game. And I think that's the reason why I think they're going to they have a chance to get Love, but why I feel they're going to take the offensive lineman and then take the dynamic running back in the second round and forego the linebacker position this year, because I think they're going to want to build on offense in that way. as much as I praise Evan Neal and pretend to be on his side to make the team, which I know I'm going to look like an idiot because he's not going to come through. I think it's more about you can't rely on that. If John Runyon goes down, I'm pretty sure Mac is going to spit his coffee out or his bad elf out if he has to see 73 trot in the field because John Runyon, busted an ankle out there, right? And now we have to watch Mr. Olay himself not make a block, and there goes a sack fumble or something like that with the quarterback. So I do believe that's where they're going. I know it's long-winded, but those are my two spots: is the guard and the running back.
Well, the thing about the offense too, real quick, if you went in the direction of say we do get up like a Jeremiah Love, to me it'll create that dynamic. I don't know if you guys remember back like Tiki Barber and Brandon Jacobs. When Brandon Jacobs was like a rookie, Tiki Barber was obviously the lead back. And he get all the big plays, get you downfield. But when they got inside that 5, man, they turn around and get that ball to the big guy, Brandon Jacobs, man, bully his way into the end zone. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, he had a pretty big year with just scoring touchdowns. It's like when he was like a rookie or a second-year player or something. Other when he was still playing behind Tiki Barber. I think that would be something similar you would see like a Scatterboo where Jeremiah Love was making those kind of plays like the big time dynamic plays, and then once you got inside, you needed those tough yards with a guy like Ricard leading the way, and Scatterboo just pounding it at you. I mean I love what this football team, the identity this football team seems to be creating. But the only reason why I still lean more towards wanting to use that pick defensively is because I just think there's still so much more problems with the defense on this football team, man. I just feel like there's so much more holes. I feel like right now, we can go out there right now, what we know this team has offensively, and I think still really be really, really competitive and really put up points on the board, have the ability to be really pretty dynamic. With what we know about this offense right now, today on paper, I think it can go out there and really be potentially a pretty dynamic group. I can't say that defensively still. Don't have that kind of confidence in this defense right now based off of what we saw a year ago. Like I said, I still have nightmares of those games. First Dallas game, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago. I mean, I still have nightmares of those games with the breakdowns defensively, just getting gashed in the run game, giving up over 5 yards a carry in the run game over the course of a season. That is inexcusable. I just really feel like that's why Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, to me, one of those guys got to be the pick because those are game-changing defensive talents that can come on this. I mean, just absolutely generational type guys. Like they can both be the next greats at their respective positions. That's the kind of talent those two guys have. Respectfully, I mean, Caleb Downs can literally come in and potentially be that next great safety up there with the Ed Reeds and the Palomalus and guys of that ilk. You know what I mean? And the same with Sonny Styles, man. He can come in, like I said. I think people are truly sleeping on just how good this guy really is, the kind of football player he truly is. People are hung up on the workout, the combine, and yeah, that put him, to me, that just will put him over the top. Was the workout just will put him over the top. What this kid does on the field, he was still worthy of a top 10 pick, in my opinion, in this upcoming draft. And I think the workout made him a surefire guy that should be consideration for that number 5 overall pick. That's just how I feel about it. I just think this defense just has so many problems, I really want to really see us, really try to shore this thing up on the defensive side of football.
I love that take. And I will say this, like I understand, believe me, we understand the I would say the PTSD that we have for seeing blowouts last year. And one thing that I would say that I'm a little bit more comfortable. I know it's on paper, but what I can say, what I can see with obviously getting Nagy, I was pissed off, but then seeing what we have around him now with Greg and with the ex-Tennessee coach, I'm forgetting his name right now, should know it. But that being said, with how much leadership, how much NFL experience is on both sides of the football, and on this coaching staff, it makes me really, really excited on what's to come. And I'm not gonna sit here because Mac just did it and explain to you guys how good a Sonny Styles could be and how good a Caleb Downs could be. But I'm also looking at it with like they're all like if you look at all 3 of those guys, right, including Love, Jeremiah Love and both of those defensive guys, they're all John Harbaugh's type of player. And Adam just brought up offensive tackle, offensive guard too. So if you think about it, we're in a position where John Harbaugh is probably going to guarantee get one of his type of players. But not only that, if he's not there, maybe trade up a bit to 8, and then you still get to you drop the offensive lineman and acquire maybe a picks that we don't have, because we have limited amount of picks inside the top 100 and in this drafting period. But the reason why I like this draft is, we're always so comfortable picking in the top 10. But I truly believe that if we take someone at 5 or we take someone at 8, or if we trade back, there is truly going to be the rookies that's going to come in that is drafted is gonna make a big imprint on this next year coming up. And when I look at teams like Detroit and what they was able to do with Jameer Gibbs and Montgomery, that definitely could be us, the way we want to run the football down people's throats. And that's why I think like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and explain how good the defensive players is, because I've been shouting I've been shouting Down's name for forever, and I recently realized how good that machine is in Sonny Styles. When I went back after the combine, I looked at some of his highlights and some of his tape. The guy's a damn machine, and all of those Ohio State boys are a machine, including Tate. But man, looking at Love, I'm like, I can see the vision, because you have and just to buy into that a little bit more before I pass it to Adam. And Adam, please take this conversation wherever you want to take it, New York Giants or NFL related. But the way I locked in with that is you have a running back that's coming off of a season injury that he still is slowly working off of it. You have a good exclusive running back in Tracy, but he's getting old, and then you have an aged running back. So when you look at that position, we just got done talking to about Henry. It's just such a John Harbaugh type of player when you talk about Love. So I'm excited. No matter who they take, it's gonna be fun. And I'm excited about receivers in the second and third round too. That's why I'm not high on Lemon or Tyson or Tate, even though they're all 3 dogs. I believe we also can get dogs later on in this draft. But so I'm really eyeing in on those 3 players, and of course, if we're in a position to take an offensive a guard later, maybe like pick 8 or 9, that's the pick I'm trading out and then getting one in. You know what I'm saying? That being said, let me pass the mic over to Adam. You take this conversation wherever you want to take it, my friend. Let's get it.
Well, I will navigate a little differently, because we all have given our thoughts on the draft, and give a little football take on like a team like the Minnesota Vikings and what they're doing with J.J. McCarthy and how they feel about him, because he brought in Kyler Murray. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about why J.J. McCarthy is getting the chances, or, still sticking around. And he's sticking around because he was a top 10 pick. If this guy was picked in the second round, he would have been gone, jettisoned from the team. But when you're bringing a guy like Kyler Murray, we'll really can see if Kevin O'Connell can get him going, because if Kyler Murray is probably the best quarterback they've had, is going to have there talent-wise. And if they can pull a Sam Darnold with him, that's what they're not going to make the same mistake twice, where if he does well, they're going to let him walk out the building. And I thought that's an interesting move for the Minnesota Vikings, because if their defense is good like it was last year, the defense was still solid last year, kept them in games. I mean, they dominated the Giants, let's be real. We lost to some backup third-string quarterback. That's how good their defense was. I'm not saying anything against our Giants, who were abysmal, but I'm just saying the defense is still solid. Now they bring back Brian Flores, right? They brought in I know they traded Greenlaw away. They're going to get a couple more pieces back. Now you get Kyler Murray, and you can utilize the Addisons, the Jeffersons, your TJ Hawkinsons of the world, because you can get a quarterback who, even though he doesn't study that much, has had more game experience than J.J. McCarthy. And I think that's a move that I'm interested in seeing how it develops, because we've seen what the Vikings can do when they bring in competent quarterback play in terms of Sam Darnold. And they're regretting letting both Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones walk, because obviously they didn't have anybody. I can't believe they regret that. Don't worry, Vikings, you're not regretting that one. But they do that, and I think this is interesting to see. The other interesting thing to me in the quarterback carousel is what Tua Tagovailoa will do down in Atlanta. I think giving up on Michael Penix this early is a little different than McCarthy, because McCarthy's been injured and hasn't looked great when you played him. Penix hasn't looked great either, but there's been flashes of brilliance with him where you're like, oh, wow, I can see why you drafted him number 8, and he's talented. So I know he has a knee injury, and that's taken away. Hopefully that he can get rehab, but that's another thing. Will Tua bounce back? Because a lot of these quarterbacks we were talking about, the middle class of quarterbacks, I'm going to call them, is starting to crop up. Guys getting second chances or rebirths. Look at Malik Willis going to Miami. We're going to see if he can give himself a rebirth. Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa. Will these guys latch on and be able to rise from the ashes and take a team to the playoffs and get a second contract like a Baker Mayfield did, like a Sam Darnold did, hell, even like a Daniel Jones out of nowhere did, right? And I call that the middle class of quarterback because we tend to forget that they exist because we go from the top 5 and then we go to the bottom 5 and everybody kind of just blends in between, like the Trevor Lawrences of the world and these other quarterbacks that we talk about, but we don't really talk about. These guys we will. And the Vikings, how quickly will they turn to Kyler? How quickly will, Atlanta go to Tua? Will he win the job outright? So these are a couple of little storylines that I'm intrigued to follow.
Can I add on top of that too? Speaking of the Vikings in particular, like I just say Tua in Atlanta, retire, my man. That's just too much injuries. But we'll see what happens. I wish you the best. That being said, focusing on Kyler Murray, I think it's a perfect point you brought up too, because they still have JJ. They still don't know what they want to do with JJ because of the fact that he still has something to prove, but he can't stay on the field. And when you look at I was looking at the draft picks, and some of my friends are Vikings fans. I should bring them on screen and get their take. They have two picks in the third, so I can see them. Obviously, I like Kyler, and I think Kevin's one of the underrated offensive geniuses, and I don't think he's underrated no more because he just revived Sam Darnold's career. And what Adam's point is with the late bloomers of quarterbacks, we all expect these quarterbacks to just know everything coming out of college, and sometimes it just takes some time. And when you actually give them some time and give them some stability, they can actually turn out to be really good. And so, focusing on the Vikings and focusing on Kevin O'Connor, I mean, like, I think that guy's a great offensive guru and quarterback guru in a sense, and he doesn't get as much credit as these other guys around the league. And when you look at these quarterbacks coming up in the draft, I mean, like, we all know that there's only one true quarterback in the first round, and his name is Mendoza. But you look at some of these other quarterbacks, I can see them even taking like a Nussmeier in the third, or even trading some of the thirds if they get scared and moving up to get a Nussmeier maybe in the late second, and kind of having that quarterback competition. I still think that Kyler Murray is going to beat out whoever comes in the draft, and obviously with JJ dealing with his injuries and stuff. But it's a good quarterback, like Adam said, to take this franchise where they want to be, because they have a good defense, they have a good offense. All they was lacking last year was the good quarterback play. There are people in that fucking huddle that I didn't even fucking recognize. Like, who the fuck is that guy? I have to turn to my Vikings friends, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't know as well." And like the fact that you guys don't know, it's we've been in that situation as Giants fans. So that being said, shout out to Kyler Murray, and hopefully, I think he's locked in. I don't think he'll be playing that much Call of Duty. I don't think they have to put that in the contract. And if he locks in, the kid is one of the most dynamic players at that position when it comes to moving the ball down the field with his legs. And I think that's a fire pickup. And I'm glad that the fact that you gave that the attention that it needed, Adam. Let's get it.
Look, just about just ruin that a little bit.
Go right ahead.
Just the way I feel about Kyler Murray. I mean, I think this is potentially an opportunity for him, to prove around the league, not just even to just the Minnesota Vikings, just around the league, that he still could be potentially a top quarterback in this league. I mean, I think people forget that J.J. McCarthy last year essentially was basically playing his rookie season, essentially. I mean, I know technically he was a second-year player, but let's face it, he was injured his entire rookie season from the preseason. So he had very limited NFL experience. I mean, other than being in the rooms and meetings and whatnot, but as far as being on the field, it was essentially his rookie season. And yes, there were a lot of downs. You know what I mean? But he also did show a few flashes here and there. And I think it just goes to show you where we're at in the NFL, where the NFL is now. It's just that there's no patience anymore, man. It's no you got to hit the floor running, or it's just not good enough, essentially. Because back in the day, the way like a JJ McCarthy is coming along right now, that was essentially how you want to see it be done. You know what I mean? Progression. You know what I mean? But now just nobody wants to wait for that. So you want to bring Kyler Murray in, and look, he's got a couple of dynamic receivers. Obviously, one of the very best in the league, Justin Jefferson, another very good number 2 receiver, and Jordan Addison. T.J. Hawkinson, the tight end. I mean, you got some weapons out there for him to work with. Probably the best weapons he's obviously worked with in his career, obviously. Actually, so I mean, this could be interesting over there, man. You're right. Their offense has a potential to be very, really dynamic, man, with Kyler Murray in it. Because let's face it. I mean, there's no sugarcoating and getting around it. I don't know if it's going to be an open competition or what their plan is in Minnesota, but let's face it. JJ McCarthy is not likely to beat out Kyler Murray. I mean, that's just not likely to happen. So you can go ahead and pencil Kyler Murray in as a starter, regardless of whether it's going to be an open competition or not. As far as I'm concerned, you can go ahead and pretty much pencil Kyler Murray in as a starter. With him, I mean, who knows? He can go out there and it could be he could have a season like Sam Darnold did a few years ago. I mean, a couple years ago in Minnesota, in which I think Minnesota, if that's the case, would not make that same mistake and let that quarterback get up and walk out the door. You know what I mean? Or it can just be like a season that's maybe just good enough that maybe, they're comfortable, not re-signing him, moving him on, letting him move on, and he can go off somewhere else, and then maybe they'll feel like McCarthy's ready to take the reins. But it's just, I don't know. I do like the signing of Kyler Murray there. I think that was a big time, low key, really smart place for him to go. I'm glad he didn't just, go to the Jets and to go deal with that nonsense. You know what I mean? I think a guy like him would be eaten alive in New York. You know what I mean? So with just the media alone. So I think he made a good decision going to Minnesota up with a great coach, like you said, Kevin O'Connell. And like I said, a lot of good group of weapons around him, man. And I think he has the opportunity to really turn his career back around and get back to that status that he once kind of was at, where people were respecting him as one of the top quarterbacks in this league.
Well said. Well said. That being said, guys, is there any other topics you guys want to get to? If that being said, I'm free to wrap it up. If you guys want to cover anything that I may have forgotten that you guys want to cover real fast, I'll leave it to you guys.
Fresh out of topics. I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I don't got nothing major, but I do want to say one thing just to end the show real quick a little bit. If you guys looking for something crazy, super dope show to watch, man, on HBO on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday night HBO, man. It's a show called DTF St. Louis, man. It is absolutely dope. It's 3 episodes in. Stars Jason Bateman, the guy that played Hopper on Stranger Things. Those are the 2 main characters. It's like a dark comedy, whodunit kind of thing, man. It's like I said, 3 episodes in. Each episode just gets crazier and crazier, man. And really, I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. The one I'm already like all in, like, damn, who the hell did it? Who did it? Who did it? Who did the deed? You know what I mean? I want to know. The show is super dope, though. It's called DTF St. Louis, man. It comes on HBO Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Also, it streams on Max, obviously. So, yeah, I highly recommend the show. Anybody hasn't seen it yet, check it out, man. DTF St. Louis. It's super dope show, man. It's crazy.
Hell yeah. And if you guys want to include some pop culture here at Premium Takes every now and then, I'm down for it too. I'm such a movie and show buff as well. So I'm gonna pass the mic back over to you, Mac, and you can end it out. Let's get it. Thank you guys all for watching. We appreciate you guys. Sorry I didn't even get to this earlier. Raphael, thank you so much, and Mosley, thank you guys so much. Let's get it.
Appreciate everybody once again watching the show, tuning in to the Premium Taste Podcast. Make sure y'all go and like, subscribe, and ring the bell to all of us that support all our channels, man. Myself, MacDaGiantsFan, and Zion, Zenith, and Adam Costas, and at the Hardcore Sports Network. Go show some support, show some love, man, and throw them 4s up for our guy NYG, Jeffy T, man. Always here with us, man. One love, man, Jeff. You ain't going nowhere, man. We still love you, baby. And it's been another edition of the Premium Takes Podcast. I guess we'll be back on our regular time next week. I'm not going to be able to do the show next Thursday, guys. Talk about that afterwards. But
yeah, guys. So I'm sorry, late announcement. No show Thursday too because my sister's getting married, so I'm gonna be at her wedding. So sorry, super late announcement, totally last minute. But yes, no show next week, guys. But we'll resume the week after that with some draft talk. We'll have some draft things to cover, talk about some prospects, and then go from there. Didn't want to take over the outro. Back over to you, Matt.
That's all I got. Like I said, thanks again for tuning in. Like, subscribe, ring that bell, man. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Peace.